politicians have been scrambling around quite a lot recently. Vying for our attention, wanting to be seen, and most importantly, trying to gain Trump's favor. I try my best to avoid it, but sometimes there are so many details that I find too curious to not investigate further. So today I want to look at Kemi Badenoch and the way she's been positioning herself, and of course, how she's being positioned by this conservative party. So in this video isn't done to denigrate her real accomplishments and achievements, of course, in life, let alone politics, but instead I'll look at how she's destroying the opportunities of other people to cement her own success. Kemi is the Conservative Party's newest Trojan horse in the hope of tackling Britain's immigration crisis, or so she thinks. Some of the worst manifestations of racism and violence are reserved to immigrants who look, act, and worse yet, talk just like us. The more they try to fit in and the harder they try to belong, the more they are rejected. Narcissism of small differences is an idea created by Sigmund Freud, the ever so correct and ever so wrong father of psychoanalysis. Freud says that we preserve our most hateful emotions and aggression towards those who resemble us the most. We are threatened and angered by those who mirror and reflect us nearly because they attack our sense of selfhood. Essentially, how dare those who resemble us challenge our uniqueness and sense of superiority? To best ignore the similarities between us and them, we exaggerate and create narratives to emphasize our differences. Unworthy people are filtered by their resident status. They face new boundaries from within those who are similar to them. Unworthy people are devalued. Information in defense of their rights is blocked out and changed to fit our perception of reality as righteous. It's really impressive when you look at the comments on Kimi's videos, and the few that are allowed to stay are from accounts, if not bots, really, of people who are also previous immigrants agreeing to make life and opportunities harder for the incoming immigrants. Kemi was born British as Olukemi Olofunto Adegoke in a Wimbledon hospital in January 1980 before her parents took her home to Nigeria. Ever the grateful migrant who liking to compare herself to the Iron Lady, Badenoch doesn't just forget, she ignores she was among the last to benefit from the birthright citizenship rules which her hero, Margaret Thatcher, would abolish in the 1981 British Nationality Act. I'm not Nigerian, let alone Yoruba, which is the origin name of Olukemi's name. Curious of its meaning, I found out it means God cares for me or God pampers me, which is quite nice. Side note, through this high level Google search, I was able to conclude that Olu, the part of Kemi, had removed from her name, means God. So, yeah. So, why would the conservative leader Kemi would do this? Identity formation and reformation is very important when trying to distinguish yourself from the other people, the other in general. Safe to say that the Nigerian chapter in the Badenoch household will soon to be an old wives' tale. And looking at some of the public details from her life and the opportunities she's been presented with, you can't blame her. Cups stealing can be looked at as an individual issue, or a society issue, or even a national issue. Kimmy knows this personally. She states that, and I quote, "My experience with the Nigerian police was very negative. The police in Nigeria will rob us. When people say I have this bad experience with the police because I'm black, I say, well, I remember the police stole my brother's shoes and his watch. It's a very poor country. People do all sorts of things. So giving people a gun is just a license to intimidate. But that's not just the problem. However, my experience with the British police was very positive when I came to the UK." End quote. This is an example of a narcissistic defenses. It is a desperate measures to prevent the nearly others from taking our sense of uniqueness. Just how desperate and what are these defenses? One example is spitting. Those newcomers who try emulate us belong to the group that is either all bad or all good. We attribute to them our own imperfections, the parts we can't stand anymore, the ills in our society that are unacceptable. After successfully destroying themselves through bad policies such as Brexit and political infighting, the Conservative Party was defeated and needed a new leader. Like all organizations, they need a frontman. No, not that frontman. Currently, it's Kemi. I really feel like Kimmy is being used as a litmus test by the Conservative Party to springboard and try out unlikely policy changes. Perhaps to invite hardliners, discussion, emotion, and heck, after the quote unquote worst ever defeat, as quoted by Shadow Defense Minister James Cartledge, they are fishing for anything that would stick politically to win back votes lost to Nigel Farage. Having ruled for the past 14 years and presided over the very immigration crisis, the Conservative Party now wants to stand out as the solution for every very crisis it helped to create. To avoid the self-reflection, the party wants to push the goalpost to 30 years of bad governance, to not just share the blame for the issue, but to pinpoint it to their rivals. Kemi believes getting a British citizenship is too easy, especially for people who came into the UK to do low wage jobs. For example, people working in the health or social care sector, or as we call it, people doing care jobs, as if because she is an engineer and therefore inherently a better human being than you yourself, she hates that in a few years' time, these people and their dependents who came to the UK would be eligible for permanent residence and citizenship. But wait a minute. There are thousands and thousands of people illegally crossing the channel into the UK who go on to start benefiting from public funds by hotel accommodation, feeding, and handout as soon as they arrive. But Kimmy is worried about people doing critical jobs, of looking after the vulnerable people in the society, paying their taxes and receiving no public funds. These people looked after the sick and old people during the COVID pandemic. The same people who were so essential that the government she was part of made a special openings to let them come into the country to help. Kemi Badenoch feels that these are not net contributors to the UK and would be getting the British citizenship on a sheep after 6 years of working hard, paying taxes, renewing visas at high costs, and not getting any benefits from government. I think this is an unpalatable comment towards hardworking people in the critical care sector, which undermines their roles and diminishes their contributions during one of the world's most devastating pandemics. She's cruel towards skilled legal migrants that follow the law and pays tax, and ignorant towards illegal migrants who do not have any resources to integrate into the UK in the first place. So remember, the more similar you are to someone who is in the firing line, the more you want to distance yourself from them, and the more you want to render yourself as special. Regardless of the lenses I have used to look into her situation, it remains to be seen if she will remain as the leader of the opposition in the UK until 2029, which is when they will host their next elections. Her party's social media strategy has been very active on social media, which means catching the attention of the people who don't usually look into the politics, including me, for example. But it seems that she's got a real fight on her hands already with Nigel looming, but oh well, such is life. So once again, thank you all for watching. And yeah, I quite enjoy making this psychology mixed with politics, kind of like social commentary. So don't be too surprised if you see more of that from this channel. So yeah, bye bye.